Today I want to talk about childhood trauma and domestic violence and the effects that it has on children. I am a product of childhood trauma and domestic violence, and I've always known that it was a factor in my life and had a huge impact on who I am and why I function in life the way that I do, why I have the fears that I have and the anxieties and things like that. And so I've been pretty open about those kind of things in my life, and pretty well aware that I was very much impacted by growing up with an alcoholic dad and living in a violent environment. But I've been watching some videos recently and learning more about how it changes the brains of children when they're subjected to violence at an early age, and especially in infants and even in utero, how it actually physically changes the structure of different parts of our brains and has a major impact on us. The way that we think, the way that we handle stress, the way that we handle different aspects of our lives. So I'm just really starting to get a better understanding of these things, and I know that I need to really delve into it more, and I'm praying about it and asking the Lord to help me to really look at what's going on, because I definitely have never been able to handle stress well, and I think I've developed certain patterns over the years of avoidance, because I think in childhood, when you're laying in bed at night and you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old and you're terrified in the middle of the night, you have to go someplace in your mind to cope, to handle the stress of what's going on around you, because there's no one to run to, there's nowhere to turn. And so for me, I turned inward to myself, to focusing on myself and my body symptoms and how I was feeling physically, instead of dealing with the trauma of what was actually going on around me. And I think that became a pattern in my life of avoidance, of really allowing myself to feel the pain of whatever was happening in my life at the time. Because even after childhood was over, going into adulthood, I've used different patterns of avoidance. I had an eating disorder for about a year when I was about 12, and when I wasn't doing that anymore, it was drinking. So there's been different things like that that I've used, I think, as coping mechanisms to deal with things in life. Even to this day, when there's difficult things going on in my life, in relationships and things like that, I go inward and I focus on my health and different issues like that, instead of dealing with what I'm actually feeling, the hurt or whatever. So I need to really start looking into that kind of thing more, and break these patterns that I've developed from the time I was a little girl, because I want to be whole and healthy, and I want to learn to deal with life in a healthier way, not with old patterns that are self-destructive. So something I definitely got to spend more time on.